On this episode of the Dr. Tina Show, I'm going to be doing a quick and dirty episode all about this awesome new high-tech sleep pod gizmo by a company called 8 Sleep that I've been using for many months now. And I vetted it out before I shared it with you. So we're going to jump into everything I love about it, which is most everything, and maybe any nuances that you should know about before investing in something like this. But this thing is freaking amazing, and I want to tell you all about it. Okay, so straight up, I have been an Aura Ring girl for years and years now, and I found that piece of equipment, that wearable device. Well, for one, I didn't like wearing it and being tracked all over the place. So, here's my tinfoil hat, call me a conspiracy theorist, but just not really interested in being tracked everywhere I moved and went. So, what am I talking about? But what I did like the Aura Ring for was for sleep. I tracked my sleep with it. And that was the only time I wore it. I kept it off during the day and I only wore it at night. I bought my husband one to track his sleep, and it was very, very informative and really did help him change some of his lifestyle habits, because he realized, I mean, you can just see it. It shows up in your sleep, right? But he would only wear it at night as well. And then we found ourselves not really wearing it because, I don't know, we'd forget or whatever. And then we just wouldn't track our sleep. And you start to get to know what messes up your sleep and what doesn't. And so the utility of it sort of lost its allure for me, although I still think it's a cool gadget. But that is not what this episode is about. So I was finding myself not having any kind of sleep tracking happening. And then 8 Sleep, the company who makes this awesome mattress topper, they actually make mattresses and they make mattress topper. So you can turn any of your mattresses that you have into an 8 Sleep sleep pod, basically. And they reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to try this?" And I looked into it and I thought, this is like futuristic technology. This is so cool. Yes, of course I want to try it. Thank you. I'm going to preface this. These things are not cheap, but man, what a cool concept, right? So I get this mattress topper and put it on my bed. And it was very easy to set up. It goes on just like any other mattress cover. It's thick. So, you've got to have a little muscle when you put it on. But we get the mattress topper on. It's got these tubes that come out of it that go into a small, it looks like a PC desktop sized contraption. That's where all the magic happens. There's a water tank, and you put water in the tank, and it takes a couple tankfuls of water, and the water goes into the mattress to help control temperature. And then there's all these sensors in the mattress that are doing some fancy technology that I'm not even going to try to understand. I was concerned about EMFs, and they told me the only EMFs were coming out of the machine and not from the mattress topper. So that was helpful. The mattress topper itself doesn't plug into anything. It's just got this padded covered water tubes that go to the control central, if you will. So the first night, I didn't really know what I was doing. And what I mean by that is there's an app that you download on your phone and you can control the temperature. So you can set the temperature to be whatever you want it to be during a few phases during the night. So going to bed, that time, I haven't actually looked exactly on the times, but it's somewhere around, like, I want to say midnight ish. There's another time frame really early in the morning, and then there's a wake up time frame. And you can set the temperature to whatever you want during those time frames, or you can put it on what's called autopilot, and autopilot will basically read your body and scan you and decide what temperature is best for you. So I set it to my settings at first, and you're able to control both sides of the bed. So my husband actually preferred different settings than I did. A little background on me. I am 50 years old. I am perimenopausal, and I was starting to have some, I wouldn't even call it a hot flash. I haven't really experienced a hot flash, I don't think. I mean, maybe once, but I also took some B vitamins without eating much. So it could have been that. Could have just been a niacin flush. But I would wake up in the middle of the night hot. So it wasn't like drenched in sweat hot, but it was hot. I was usually wrapped up in too much. And it's worse in the winter, I'll say, because I go to bed, I'm freezing to death usually. This is without the mattress topper, without the 8 Sleep. I go to bed freezing because I live in Oregon and it gets cold, and I live out on a farm and our bed is near the window, and I make my husband cuddle me every night because I'm freezing. Like, that's part of his job, is to warm me up at night and in the morning. And sometimes he doesn't want to because he's tired because he works manual labor all day and he's pooped, he doesn't want to cuddle. So I might just sit there and like, that's what Murphy's for, my dog. I'll cuddle him, but it's not the same. So I'll sometimes go to bed in a ton of clothes. And I'm not kidding, like a stocking cap, a hoodie, pants, socks, wool socks. I do love sleeping in socks, I'm not going to lie, but I will go to bed completely dressed, just sans bra, right? And my husband's like, "Why are you fully dressed?" I'm like, "Because I'm freezing. I have thyroid issues. I'm a woman. I have hormonal and thyroid issues. I do much better in warm climates. I'm not good in the cold. And I get so cold it hurts. Like my body shuts down sometimes." So I would go to bed fully dressed. So of course I would wake up in the middle of the night hot and sweating and just, I didn't really know what was causing it. But I will tell you, getting the 8 sleep and figuring out the temperature part was a complete game changer for me. So what I do is I set it for a warm up period at night. So by the time I get into bed, it's already been warming up. So my bed is warm when I get in. And I cannot tell you guys how much I love that. And I was able to actually go to bed in just, like light pajamas and not have a ton of blankets on top of me. So that was a complete game changer. So much more comfortable than sleeping under layers and layers and layers of blankets, like not my jam. So that alone was worth every bit of this mattress topper. Like amazing, game changer. Then I could set it so that I would actually have a cool down period during the hours that I tend to wake up hot. So it would actually kick into gear and cool my side of the bed down during those hours, which was amazing. So I quit waking up drenched and hot because I was not sweating to death. And I was also not having a ton of covers and a ton of clothes on. And then this is the best part. I set it to warm me up in the morning. So it's warm and toasty by the time I wake up, which is so amazing. So now I can cuddle with my husband and we can have intimacy. And there's no like, "Oh my God, I'm freezing. Keep all the covers on us." So that was so amazing. All right. So this took us some time to figure out. I'm not going to lie. It took us a few days just to get the temperature thing situated. And it's very quiet. It doesn't wake us up. The one complaint I have is that there is a blue light, like it's the color blue, that glows out of the bottom of this tower. And that's sitting next to my husband has like a trunk for a nightstand. And it sits on that because we've got dogs and a lot of dog hair and I don't want dog hair getting in it. So although there's nowhere for the dog hair to go in, I keep it up off the floor. Murphy was peeing on everything as he was coming out of his puppy training and he learned to lift his legs. So I didn't want Murphy to pee on it. Anyway, it has a blue light that glows and I don't like that. 8 sleep, if you're watching this, I really think that that's disruptive. So my husband has to put a t-shirt over it because if you know me, I've done a whole podcast about sleep hygiene. The room has to be pitch black, like a tomb. And I wear an eye mask. I wear earplugs. Like I am not kidding around when it comes to censorship deprivation when I'm trying to sleep. And I do not need lights in my room, especially LED lights. Okay, let's try autopilot and let's let the bed sort out for itself what it wants to do. So much better, you guys. So much better. Autopilot, amazing. Autopilot, like the bed was even more comfortable and the temperature was even more regulated. I have not had a single night of waking up in like drenched sweat since I figured out the temperature thing. That has been a complete game changer for my sleep. My husband has different settings. He loves it. He is definitely sleeping better. So very, very cool there. The other thing I love is that it has an alarm on it. You can set the unit to go off at a certain time. There's no noise. What happens is it starts this really gentle pulsation. It goes a little bit of a vibration. It like vroom, vroom, like on different parts of your section of the bed, your side of the bed. And it picks up in speed and intensity. And then by the time, and this starts just minutes before the alarm's set to go off, I think. I don't know. I'm asleep, so I haven't checked. But by the time it's a few minutes past your alarm, it is really going boom, 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 boom. It's very gentle. And oh my God, it is so much better than noise. It is so much better than an audible alarm. I cannot stand alarms. I have had issues with alarms. I have issues with noise. My brain just doesn't like loud noises. I'm hypersensitive to noise, and I'm especially sounds like dripping of faucets, things like that, like have always set me off. I can hear stuff in other rooms, buzzing, things that just normal people don't pay any attention to. My brain hyper fixates on it, and I do not like it. And alarms are so abrasive to my brain, and they wake me up, and I am immediately pissed off immediately when I hear the audible sound. So this way of waking up is just superior. That alone is worth the mattress topper. What a phenomenal asset to this unit. I really applaud you, 8 Sleep, for that one, because it's just a whole different way to wake up that I've never been able to experience. And I absolutely love it. I normally wake up with the sun. I'm pretty good. And my dogs wake me up. So my circadian rhythm's pretty well set. But man, not having to listen to a buzzing audible or like all these horrible sounds the iPhone makes. Love this. Love this like physical vibration. It almost feels like a little bit of a massage. So you kind of get into it and you're like, oh, I'm happy. I'm waking up. And you're kind of almost dancing to it. So, okay, next up. The sleep technology, the sleep tracking technology on this is so cool. I have not had to wear my Oura Ring since. I did wear my Oura Ring in conjunction with it, and I'll tell you, it was pretty close. It was pretty spot on. But what this unit tracks that I pay attention to is it tells me how long I sleep, how much of it was REM sleep, how much of it was deep sleep. It actually tells me how much I snored during the night, which is so interesting. My husband snores and he doesn't believe me. And it's not a loud snore. It's like a cute little lion snore. If it was a loud snore, I would have never dated him, because I do not date people whose sleep is messed up or who messes up my sleep. I'm over that. No. That's what I should say. I should have said this at the beginning. Like, I do not fuck around with my sleep. I take my sleep very seriously. So tracking it is important to me. So I get to see what phases of sleep I spent time in, which is so cool. And it text messages me in the morning to give me my report. If I forget to look, it's like, hey, your sleep score was this, and here's the other, you got like this percentage of REM. Congratulations. Very, very cool. It tells me my heart rate variability, which I have to say was pretty well matched up to the Oura Ring and pretty spot on there. So I think that the technology is sound. So I get the full gamut of, the sleep phases and my sleep architecture, which I think is super awesome. What stage I'm in, when, and for how long. It also tells me, beyond my heart rate variability, it tells me my heart rate and it tells me my breath rate. So that's very nice. And it'll tell you when it gives you colors, like you're in the red. Like my heart rate was a little bit elevated last night. And so it's showing it in red. So my eyes quickly catch it. I'm like, oh, why was my heart rate elevated? What did I get into that would have caused that? Did I eat too late? Love, again, the amount of time spent snoring. I think that that's phenomenal. And it's interesting because it tracks it like a graph. So I'll see it actually go up. I'll be like 2 nights of intense snoring, and then it goes way back to, I'm not much of a snorer. I only spend a few minutes a night snoring. But like the night before last, I spent an hour and 10 minutes snoring. So like, what was I doing that day that would have induced that kind of snoring? It tells me my sleep consistency. And so it tracks if you're going to bed consistently and if you're waking up consistently at the same times. And it'll tell you when you're out of range. It learns your sleep patterns. It learns when you naturally go to bed. You don't have to set it. It just naturally starts to track you and tell you what you're doing. It tells you your sleep latency, meaning how long it took you to go to sleep and any issues around that. Obviously, overall time slept. Super cool. It doesn't tell you your temperature. I do like that feature of some wearable devices, is that I can find out my temperature, but I can't imagine how they would do that with this. It's nice though to track with temperature on a wearable. I can track, am I getting sick? Am I ovulating? Like what's going on in my body? I can usually tell with my heart rate variability, my heart rate, my breathing rate, and then my phases of sleep and different stages. I can tell if my body's under duress or not. So very, very cool, and highly recommend, and don't have to wear a wearable anymore, which I love. Some features of this 8 Sleep pod, which I think are very cool: clinically proven to improve your sleep and health, up to 34% more deep sleep, up to 32% improved sleep quality, up to 19% increase in recovery. I will say that my sleep is better since using it. Just having my temperature controlled is a game changer. Being able to have it read me in real time and adjust that so that I'm not having to wake up sweaty or freezing, because I would wake up freezing as well prior to this. This gentle rise alarm is a total morning changer, completely changes the rest of my day. And really just the ability of this thing to act in real time to adjust to make sure that I fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up when I want to is really, really cool. The heart rate measurements are clinically shown to be 99% accurate, which is very cool. No wearable required. The heart rate algorithm was validated against a gold standard electrocardiogram device on more than 100 nights of data. Heart rate variability tracking is also highly correlated with the gold standard EKG. This is something that's used by high performance sports people, business people, people who really need to just up their game. These are the folks that are using the 8 Sleep. You can go on their website and see a ton of testimonials from some really high functioning folks. And then the real test was the season change. This is what I was waiting for. And this is why I have not recorded this until now. I wanted to record this months ago, but I wanted to see what would happen with summer. And I don't have air conditioning in my house. Sometimes we'll put a window unit in, but I wanted to get through like a week of hot weather, which we just did. It was really hot. And we have ceiling fans, but I mean, it's so hot that my dogs are laying on the tile floor in the bathroom panting, like that kind of heat in the house. And I wanted to see how this would perform. And it did beautifully. It was amazing. Like it literally cools down the bed to become an air conditioner. So I have not woken up hot at all, which has been shocking to me. Normally I wake up, I don't sleep great when it's hot. I wake up frequently, especially the more I get into this perimenopause and my hormones are doing funny things. I definitely wake up on hot nights in the summer, and I have not. We got through that week and it was cool as a cucumber, literally, because the pod notices and it puts cooler water in and it cools the entire mattress down. So very, very cool. I highly recommend. If you guys have any questions, you can go to 8sleep.com. I also have a coupon code for you. It's Dr. Tina, DRTYNA at 8sleep.com. That's spelled out EIGHTSLEEP.com. Check it out. Really interesting website, really interesting technology. Again, I pretend to understand it, but I don't entirely. But it is high tech. It's like futuristic. It reminds me of the Jetsons. And use Dr. Tina as your code to save. It's a cool. The code is great because you can stack it on top of other sales that they're having. So it's an additional discount on top of whatever deals they're currently running. So that's it. I hope you guys will check it out. If you are having issues like I have with this perimenopause, menopause, hot, cold situation, I really think that they probably should advertise more for that group of women because it's no joke. Like having your hormones shift at this point and waking up in a, sweaty, hot inferno and then going between that and freezing cold is no fun. And I will leave you with that.